What an amazing year 2023 it has been. What amazing diversity in the female characters, the lead characters essayed by female actors that we saw. And this table is an example of that. Let me start with Ma'am You. A 60-year-old widow in that film becomes a biker. A woman who's physically impaired wants to win that cricket match. A woman who abuses the hell out of those 4 men she's with gets all the moolah at the box office. It's because of her. And Rajshri is a woman grieving for her children and fighting for injustice and seeking justice for the children that she has lost. Finally, wins the Best Actress Filmfare Award. That's a very, very mainstream award that she wins. You all are class apart, ladies. Thank you and welcome to this round table.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
To begin with, what is that one film, a development in the cinema world, or a new story about cinema that made you say, wow, we have arrived in the future?
Well, have we arrived in the future? This morning's paper had a list of all the films that were successful, genuinely earning the moolah. And they didn't have anything like what we have been doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are sort of around and alive and kicking. So that's what we should take courage from. And hope that the desire to see different kinds of stories actually continues to, you know, work in this film world of ours.
Absolutely.
It's tough times, definitely, all around, in every way. Society is going through all kinds of really difficult changes, and the art of any time reflects that. So we are seeing that. But on the other hand, there is a huge need to have stories of a different kind being told. Stories from the Mufassil areas, stories about people who are not normally part of the storytelling process, like her role in Ghumar, for example, or mine in Dhak Dhak, or Rajshri. I mean, to have a female protagonist who is driving a story like that. So these are very hopeful things, definitely.
Are hopeful things, yeah. So let's start with ma'am, your character. Love Dhak Dhak. If you have not watched Dhak Dhak till now, please go watch Dhak Dhak, story of 4 bikers. I would not say female bikers. I would get a lot of flack. Bikers, who interestingly in this case were all women. Ma'am, what drew you to this role?
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah?
I mean, at 65, getting onto a bike and going to Ladakh, God. But I have to say, I was very scared to start with. At the thought of doing it, I've never ridden anything other than a cycle, and that too in my bachpan.
Yeah.
So it was a bit daunting. And I met Arshad Varsi, who said, oh, come on, you got to do it. I mean, they'll look after you. Come on, do it. And he was so cool about it. And I thought, maybe I can do it. So that was fun. And it was a challenge to learn the...
You did learn
Yes,
biking?
yes, of course. I mean, I couldn't have done it without. Though, of course, all the seriously difficult biking stuff was done by professionals. But what wonderful women those were. The ones who were standing in for us, doing all the tricky stuff, you know. Oh, what wonderful, wonderful women with spirit. And that's what I really found was the big payoff for me. Of course, the part was good fun, and the team was wonderful. We all bonded beautifully, and the production was wonderful, beautifully organized, but very poorly presented to the audience, unfortunately. Nobody went to see the film because nobody knew it was running. Very sad. But anyway, as far as the part is concerned, I really found the thrill of doing that part. It didn't stretch me too much as an actor per se, because it was stuff I have done before. The Punjabi was different, but it's a language, it's a language that my dad spoke. My dad's family is Punjabi. So it's a language I'd heard, though I hadn't spoken before. So that was fun. But what really was exciting about it was meeting the kind of people one met en route up to Ladakh. You know, bikers are a community by themselves. And they are a beautiful community. They are a community that is quite equitable.
Yeah.
It's a community of people with skill.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
community, and I love that kind of a
And
community.
they're very disciplined. It's not like Dhoom.
They're not going to leave anyone behind.
No
Yeah.
one
Yes,
left
it's
behind.
always-
It's always
team,
together.
always following
Everything is
rules.
together.
Everyone
Yeah.
will stop for anyone in trouble. And the bonding at the end of the day when everyone sits around and chats
Yes.
about what the day has been
Yeah.
like. And that's what made me even more sure that it's people with skill that make good citizens finally.
Wow, what a line.
It's people who are not focused on skill, who are focused on other things, money, position,
Yeah.
power. Those
Or
are the
just showing
people.
off on social media. Yeah.
Those are the people that are actually rather unhappy.
Yeah.
I mean, people with skill may not be making a huge amount of money. I certainly don't. But it's my skill that keeps me alive and kicking and thinking.
Wonderful.
I don't want the money, and I certainly don't want the power, because that's going to get in my way, I feel.
Wow.
So that was my big learning from Dhak Dhak.
There was a hint of attraction between you and that foreign
Israeli
tourist.
guy.
Yeah, who shows up in the end and who
the
seems
end.
to really be concerned about
Yeah.
her. That it's not, it was not some, you know, but just a dead asexual character.
Yeah.
It was a character with feeling, with, you know, getting high once in a
Yeah.
while, right? I thought it was really beautiful. And the system, we have to break the system that doesn't allow for these films to be showcased in the best way, that doesn't allow for these films to get the right kind of screens, or you know, whatever it is that
Tapsi had produced it. I mean, everything was going for the film, you know, in a way.
it's not about that. I would say look at the actors in the West
Yes.
who struck work for SAG. Part of the reason was also that who are the power brokers now? The power is getting concentrated in the hands of 3 or 4 people. Then you will never
Corporations.
had.
Corporations,
Wait,
yes.
then you will not have
Original
diversity.
thought.
Yeah, wait, in the West also it will be like that. And
It is already,
Yeah.
except for Marvel Universe बनाते क्या हैं वो लोग? The space for the other kind of storytelling is practically non-existent, except on OTT, etc. That's where the storytelling has moved.
Yes.
So this is part of the big change.
What about you? Why would you take up a role that is so, in a way, macho? And women for a very long time on screen have not been particularly shown on that light. And it was at the same time risky zone for a female actor.
when I got offered that character, I really played it back in my head, and I realized there was no other female gangster that had been written in Hindi films. Apart from like a bandit queen
Or
or,
a
a godmother,
godmother.
where it was a very different feudal kind of setup,
Yeah.
and this woman coming out was like an aberration. In this case, this woman was operating her crime empire like a business. This is drug, this is human trafficking, this is prostitution, this is itna aayega, itna satta khelenge, ye sab.
Yeah.
So I found that to be very fascinating. Then I found her inherent unapologeticness to be fascinating. And then it was risky, because even when I did it, I didn't have management and all that, and we got paid very little in the first part at least, where people, you know, how एजेंसीज आपसे कैसे बात करती हैं कि अरे ब्यूटी की कैटेगरी ब्लॉक हो जाएगी, हेयर केयर, ब्यूटी, जो भी गृहिणी, यू नो, प्रेशर कुकर, मसाले, हाँ वही, उसमें कोई फेमिनिन बात नहीं होगी. हाँ नहीं, सेक्स अपील हो भी सकती है डिपेंडिंग ऑन हाउ किंकी द ऑडियंस इज, इफ दे लाइक दिस काइंड ऑफ हंटर whip, you know. So I mean, I get that it was like different, but at that time I really also wanted to do it because I had just come out of Gangs of Wasipur, and I was sick of people just like talking to me that I was actually Nawaz's mother, and not realizing that I was not the only one who had to experience aging on screen for that part. I thought it should be to an actor's credit how well they portray that, because the story goes 20-30 years. तो उसमें मनोज बाजपेयी, नवाज, जितने बाकी पीयूष मिश्रा, all these actors are also aging, but it was just like
माँ का रोल मिल गया.
हाँ हाँ वही मुझे समझ ही नहीं आया. So after that it was really difficult. So one of the reasons I did it was also calculated risk. I knew कि beauty की category block हो जाएगी, but I also knew कि मैं शायद jeans पहनूंगी तो myopic industry में people might see me little bit differently. And having said that, I think for a very kind of like what Rajshri said about me, people who know me will know me as very different person. But the ones who don't know me will have this overarching symbol of that gangster. And they will say things like, "Arey gali de do yaar, maza aa jayega." So I mean, I take it with a pinch of. I feel like I'm giving expression to some of their repressed feelings. Oh, log nahi bol pa rahe, to shayad main. Because my character's first dialogue was Dalli, Dalli, Dalli.
Yeah, haan main hu Dalli. Yeah.
So there was,
it was in the trailer, the teaser.
And we had done it when no one knew me. It was pre-fame. So at 6 a.m. in Chandni Chowk, on Purani Haveli, I'm yelling on the log chhat se uth ke dekhe kaun hai ye animal print pehen ke. And you know, it was a funny experience, but I think it paid off. It started my association with Excel. I did a lot of work with them after, and I met Ali on the sets, which was the
cherry on the cake.
Yeah.
Rajshri, Trial by Fire was such an intense series for me to watch. I had to take breaks. Every once in a while I had to take breaks because something or the other would trigger me. I would start crying. I would start just getting irritated, broody, depressed. That's the mark of a series really well done, because it impacts you so much that you remember it for a very long time.
You also remember it because it's true.
Because it's true.
like,
yes.
Yeah.
And then I was wondering, how difficult would it have been for you as an actor to get into the world of gloom and the reality and the facts and the entire thing that of 80s, how it all happened.
And the fact that there is no resolution even today.
No resolution.
I mean, it's just heartbreaking.
Hopelessness. But at least we started the conversation. At least we refreshed the memory, and that is also enough to just keep constant hammering that justice is not done. So, what was your impetus? Why did you say yes to it?
Of course, it is a tragedy and all, but I feel it's a very inspiring story for me. It's a very important story, and that was the first thing which came in my mind, that I want to do this. I want to be part of it, and I'm, you know, ready to go with this journey. And of course, in a personal life, I am associated, like I work on ground with villages and all. So I always feel that, you know, there is something what Neelam taught me is go for it. Take immediate actions.
The character Neelam,
yeah,
right?
Neelam Krishnamurti from Trial by Fire. So when I got this part, I'm like, this is it. We were on a third wave of pandemic. The oxygen cylinder was huge issue at that time. I was of course dealing with all that in my village also. And then Prashant came up to me, you know, the Sanjeev Moore, the casting team, and Prashant Nair said, okay, we have to audition. So for a month I auditioned for it, and then they said, okay, we are doing it. I'm like, when are we shooting? Like, next month. So it was like, you know, I had to bring so much my personal space over there. And of course, Prashant said, you know, we are not meeting Neelam Krishnamurti. There is hardly anything online. So whatever the material I had, I was creating her through that. But it's because of her journey, which is somewhere, you know, there are many women who has gone through that journey. Many women couldn't take that, you know, step what she took it. So it was something there's very special space also with my mother. When I told her about this, so she said, you know, she lost her first child because of the medical negligence. And she said, I wish I was like Neelam. And I'm like,
oh God.
That's it, you know. This is it.
Yeah.
This is the space, and I have to make sure and make every woman, man, every person understand that, you know, speak up. Stand up for your rights. Talk to people and do something about it.
What is very important about what she's saying is act. Don't just sit and talk.
Yeah.
A lot of us just sit and talk, and that depresses the life out of us. If you act, there's something that keeps you going.
Yeah.
You can see some future, you can see some sense of hope.
Yeah.
That is the real learning that I have had from watching Rajshri over all these years.
Absolutely. If you change nothing, nothing will change. So thank you for being a part of that huge, big change. Saiyami Kher, again, it's this is the same change that you are also a part of. I've been like talking about cinema for 20 years now. Every time you watch a movie, you've been conditioned now into thinking that the actress has to look good. The actress has to, at least she has to be physically presentable, right? And most of your colleagues or friends would always put that point forward, and they would say that you are an actress. The first thing that you need to focus on, at least look good. And this conversation is so strong and so thick that you sometimes buy it. Actresses need to look good. That's one of the top 3 things that they have to do. Now, when I saw your scenes, and you very honestly and openly showed your arm, which was not there, and what I saw in you was not your face but your arm, and your move, and the way you play, and what you say, and what you believe in, and your desire to excel.
For me, I mean, my family, my grandmom used to act, my aunt acts, but my parents have brought me up in a small town, and I've had a very middle class upbringing. So when I moved to Mumbai, sorry it's getting a little historic, but when I moved to Mumbai, like Richa was talking about agencies and what they put you, ye brand block hoga, wo brand block hoga. So my agency, I love sport. That's me, that's my first love. It can't be taken out of me. I'm here today because sport has taught me how to survive.
Sport?
I used to play badminton when I was a child. I'm a runner now. I'm training for an Ironman. So sport keeps me alive. It keeps me going. So when I joined, I started acting, wanted to act. I was modeling. So my agency told me that, you know, you shouldn't dress up in a certain way and you should not speak so much about sport. I speak a lot about sport. So they said that it won't be taken well by directors and producers because a female should be a particular way. So I said, I'm sorry, but that can't change because I love my sport and I will always speak about what I'll play the sport. So Humor came to me because Balkisa saw me playing a sport that I love playing. First, it came to me because of that, and then it took 5 years to make the film because to put money behind a complete female-oriented film, even though things have changed, even though, like you said, we are here in the future, has the future arrived? The change is very small, it's there. I want to be in that minority where the change is happening, but it took 5 years to get the project going. And for me, this film is everything I could have asked for. One is the sport, is a love for the sport. But I feel for the first time in I've been acting for 7 years, the first time I realized the impact that films can have. And the response I'm getting from this film, yes, we were washed away by Gaddar because we released the same time. It's not my space, I don't understand. That was a big learning, how important these release dates and promotional things and all that you're talking about. I felt that, yaar, actor who acting jo bhi karni hai, I'll give it my all, uske baad people will watch it. You know, it's as simple as that, but it's not. So we were washed away by the tsunami of Gaddar because probably the majority of the world wants to watch testosterone and they want to watch, like, you know, certain kind of cinema, but there is a portion of India or across the world who's watched Humor, and I would like to cater to that audience and hope that audience grows because that's the only hope. And I hope that audience grows.
Absolutely, that's all we are here for.
Yes. So, like I said, like, you know, because Prithvi has 250 seats, but if you go to a bigger hall, there will be, that 250 will become 2000, that 2000 will become 20,000. Otherwise, then it's very difficult to find hope. And for me, Humor has taught me what hope is. Because it is a story of triumph. It is this girl who's lost everything because she wanted to play a sport, she lost her arm. And I feel that, I mean, with all due respect to everyone on this table, I feel actors take themselves too seriously and we are just a part, not even a drop in the big ocean. Because when I spend time with athletes, para-athletes who've lost their arms and lost their limbs, the strength they have, the resilience they have, I wish I had 2% of it. Because it taught me how small I am in this system. It taught me so much. This film taught me so much. I was very glad that it let me vomit out everything that I had stored within for all these years, and I'll always be grateful that I got this opportunity.
That's true. As ma'am said, skill is very important, and persistence is such a big key to a successful life. Harna nahi hai. You know, that every day waking up thinking, I'll give my best shot, no matter what. There's this beautiful share which says, Justuju shart hai, इंसान की बुलंदी के लिए, जुस्तजू, just continued love and desire for your मंजिल, जुस्तजू शर्त है इंसान की बुलंदी के लिए, मैं जहाँ आज ना पहुँचा कल जाऊँगा. So that's what athletes do too, right? Now there is this huge machinery that works in favor of actors and also against actors, and that is social media following and casting based on your how popular you are in the newspapers and how many followers you have on social media. And I have these very vehement discussions with my friends who are into casting, and I tell them that when I'm watching a movie, I am constantly looking at the actor who acts well. I don't want to know उसके कितने, मैं उसके इंस्टा पे नहीं जाती हूँ.
Well, I think that it's not just experience. Sometimes people are, you know, I feel like there's a great impulse in people's first films also when they're untrained, or sometimes non-actors, like in the realistic wave of cinema. I think this is a phase where casting directors want to cast someone basis their social media following. I really do think this is the phase, because
Or maybe the producers and not so much casting directors also.
whoever,
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
whatever is the reason why it's happening. I think Vikrant Masi ने भी एक बार ये बात बोली थी, but we've had influencers cast in roles, and it's not really translated into ticket sales. I have nothing against anyone being cast. I mean, I appreciate everyone's desire to be in front of the camera, and in a way, because we all have phones on our camera, we are all sort of, the gaze has shifted. If you look at people, how they clicked photos in the 80s and 90s, there is no self-consciousness. No one knows their angles. They're just standing smiling. And now I feel like everyone, my own extended family, like everyone knows ऐसे करना है, ऐसे, मतलब कुछ बदल गया है. एक छोटा बच्चा भी
people look like assholes, but they go. Sorry, I put my foot in my mouth again.
No, not at all. I'm saying it's a phase, because I don't think casting influencers alone has led to box office success or has translated into that.
Right.
My only thing is, if you want to act, it's okay, train little bit. Go train, do a workshop at least. Or like you want, it's fine. You want to act. Don't disguise your desire to act by like. हम लोग ने झग थोड़ी मारा, मतलब हम लोग थोड़ी training करके आए क्यों? Because we realized, I mean, I don't think I had the good fortune of going to FTI or NST, but I tried to train as much as I could. Like I did workshops, I worked with Barry John, I went to Adi Shakti, I did voice training. मतलब मेरे अंदर वो था कि if I go on the sets of Gangs of Wasipur, इन दिग्गजों के सामने I shouldn't fall flat. I shouldn't be nervous. I shouldn't flatline over there. So I feel anyone can act, but it's just prepare yourself a little bit.
That's why I feel actors should be sports people. Yeah, at least part of the training as acting, you should play a sport.
Very true.
I never played a sport. I'm one of those absolute idiots. I could have been good at something.
But in a
I feel
sense,
that.
like theatre is like that.
No. It's nothing.
No.
I know that actors who have been sports people and actors who haven't, there's a distinct difference. Maybe it won't show in the early days, but as you go along, that difference shows through clearly.
Yes.
I really recommend anyone who wants to
act
to please, for God's sake, learn how to play a sport and do it well.
I'm still too inexperienced to talk about acting and the craft, but I feel sport teaches you how to lose very well.
Yes,
very
that's a big
graciously.
one.
It's a very, very important thing if you want to be an actor, is to face rejection, because 99% is rejection. So sport teaches you to take it on your chin and say it's fine. I'll work, I'll go in the nets, bat more, go and run more, and work on my craft more. But the social media bit you were talking about, Richa, like Richa said, it's a phase. It's always nicer to look at it like that, to say that, you know, phases come, phases go. But the truth is, because I have faced this, I have gotten rejected basis your social media following. So I know that right now this phase exists.
Ajay, tell me, is that true for things like advertising?
Yes.
Or is it only true, or largely true for the kind of roles you get? This
For
social media
advertising,
business.
big time for advertising,
Yes.
saying, "Arey, followers itne hi hai," and all that. And also a few, without taking the platforms, but a few platforms, OTT platforms, decided base your following.
एक phase है casting is being decided basis followers. फिर एक phase आएगा where there will be a correction and people will say these followers are not real human beings. They are bots and they are bought.
And they are bought.
They are purchased. Same, like when people say 3 million views in the first half an hour, they are only buying the views, they are only writing the comments, and they are only saying, and then they are only saying.
You know such people personally, Richa?
We all know such
The
people
whole marketing
personally.
works like this. Is the entire marketing
So
which works like this.
this is the digital space. Okay, we are living in a post-truth society. This is the data. Sooner or later, it will catch up with the expenses. It's like stock market correction, right? You invest a certain amount, you get back something, and then, so I feel like whenever this realization dawns on people, it will change. It's like a few years ago, this whole thing about ads not being given to actors, endorsements not being given to actors, apart from the top few rung, creme de la creme, whatever. Then it shifted to influencers कि influencer आपको क्रीम बेचेगा. अभी वो क्रीम वो ऐसे बेचेगा कि look, I'll do my skincare routine, वो सब कुछ करके आपको दिखाएगा. मैंने ऐसे नहाया, मैंने ऐसे nails cut किए, सब कुछ. Okay, now that has shifted to what you call micro influencers. So those guys have, and now those micro influencers have their own brands.
Yeah.
So are we going to go forward or backward? It's very interesting. If maybe there'll be a future where I'll be like, ma'am, try my brand of lipstick, and she'll be like, Richa, try my brand of scented candles, and we will all exist in a barter society. And
Fabulous. You know,
we'll exist in a barter society where we'll be like, आप मेरा एक कर दो एक selfie और
आप मेरा.
So if it's barter, तो हम आगे गए कि पीछे गए?
Yeah.
नहीं, आगे पीछे दोनों साथ में.
No, but I always feel that, you know, technology is like a weapon.
Yeah, it cuts both ways.
You have to,
Double-edged
it cuts,
sword.
Yeah, so you have to decide which way you want to go.
Yeah.
You know, about the social media followers, we all go through that space in a very good way, bad way.
Yeah.
Like there is life, you know, there is someone is pulling you down, there is someone is putting that filter on you, and there is someone is inspiring you. You know, we are going through everything in that fraction of a second.
But tell me, this question was particularly aimed at you. See, Rajshri, you are Best Actor 2023 awarded by Filmfare. That speaks a lot about the changing times. You are not with 5 million followers on Insta, blah, blah, blah. You've done these films like Angry Indian Goddesses, Sexy Durga, Sacred Games, several others. You're not in that popularity charts wala zone. Now, when you see the trend of social media and you see your success, आपकी नज़र में ये social media followers, आप कैसे judge करते हैं आप इन आंकड़ों को?
See, ऐसा नहीं है कि it doesn't bother me, it does affect me. But you know, when I look back and I speak to my mother every morning.
Okay.
I remember where I come from. I come from a small place like Aurangabad. I grew up in villages, and I was not knowing what I wanted to become. मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि अगर नहीं भी कुछ हुआ, when I started into acting, कुछ भी नहीं हुआ तो, you know, ये है कि I'm doing something which I like to do. And even my first film, after that, Angry Indian Goddesses, that also, after that I was getting similar kind of a work, but then I was in my villages. So I don't know what I became. With Ismat Apa, of learning from them, reading, like I think literature opened up because the people I followed. You know, I followed Nasir Saab, I followed Ratna ma'am, I used to read those books, I used to follow that ideology. So you started understanding about the society, you started understanding about yourself, what you like, what kind of a person you want to become, and then you choose your path. So matlab, you know, something like Sacred Games jab bahar aaya tha, of course it did very, very well, but the whole clipping was there which went viral, which was in my villages also.
Okay.
And I was in the village building a school at that time, and सब लोग मुझे बोलते थे कि ताई कुछ है यहाँ पे. मैंने कहा काम करो पहले, वो बाद में देखते हैं क्या है, पहले काम करो. So never affected me.
I've been seeing the film industry from the outside for a rather long time. I haven't done very much, particularly film work, until I was much older. But I've been watching. My mum was involved, my dad was involved, Nasir was involved.
Yes.
So I've been watching from the outside for a long time. And
Ma'am, I must tell you here, Golmaal, your mother, oh my God, that scene जहाँ वो खिड़की से घुस के अंदर आती है और बाहर जाती है.
वो
You're so
बेचारी
lucky,
ने
ma'am.
50 साल इतने fabulous performances किए हैं on stage.
वो नहीं
and
याद
elsewhere.
रहता,
वो
but
किसी
it's
को
all
याद नहीं
गोलमाल.
है, एक वो गोलमाल याद रहता है. Such is life.
Such is
Whatever
life.
I have done all these years, nobody mentions. Everyone talks, Sara bhai was so nice. Okay,
true.
that's my situation, and that's your loss if you can't think of anything other than Golmaal and Sarabhai. Tough luck.
Yeah.
But what I really feel is that I saw the industry at a time when it was really ruled by extraordinarily self-involved human beings. It probably still is.
True.
That in-your-face self-absorbedness,
Yes.
I have seen at close quarters, and it's ugly as sin.
Yes.
And I feel that today, on a set, there's less of it. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
That's
You
true,
people
true,
have
true.
done much more work than I
True,
have.
true, true.
But today, on the set, there's much less of it. There's much less among crew. There's much less in cast. That's a huge,
accomplishment.
step forward
Yes.
as far as I'm concerned.
That's progress.
You know, so I mean, गिने चुने जो ऊपर के लोग हैं, शायद
Yeah.
वो लोग अभी भी 1970s and 50s के ज़माने के हैं.
Yeah.
उनको मुबारक हो अपना attitude. लेकिन by and large,
Yeah.
there's much more equality on a set, less hierarchy, there's less stupidity.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot
very
of
true.
wonderful things.
Yeah.
And what she said, people actually supporting each other, women actually supporting each other.
yes.
We are managing to break the myth
Cat
that
fight.
women
Ma'am, remember cat
are,
fight word in the press?
we are managing to break this myth that a woman is a woman's worst enemy.
yeah.
That has been thrown at us for so bloody
Yes,
long,
yes.
and I'm deeply grateful
Yeah.
that I've been able to live and see a time
Yeah.
when that is not true.
Yeah.
I have done so many films with only women.
Yeah.
Or large casts of women.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can't remember one single incident when anyone bitched about the other.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
And for such a long time, even when I was growing up, press mein cat fight,
Arey,
it's
it's
such
the
an
men who seem to have
abused
more of these
word.
problems nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, तुम्हारे बल्ले कितने और मेरा क्या, you know, तुमने कौन सी घड़ी खरीदी? हाय तौबा. That's all the conversation there. Whereas if you see a bunch of women sitting there talking about much more interesting stuff.
Much more interesting
Yeah,
stuff.
no, and on a panel somewhere, I don't remember exactly, someone said, you know, I'm very competitive. So I'm like, I think we need to use a word called collaborative.
Yeah.
You know, we have to change the game now. We have to make sure that, you know, we all are together as one.
Yeah.
So then only things will change.
Yeah, absolutely. Cinema is a collaborative process.
It's surprising you say that because I've worked with an actor who doesn't give cues, like goes away and you're supposed to say it to a tape and stuff, which I never quite understood. Because I feel that if the scene works, the film works, you work, everyone
Exactly.
works.
As actors, as artists, as performers, what are your clear, sharp dislikes and deal breakers for a script or an assignment?
Playing a abusive mother-in-law without any real reason. I'm tired of those women against women
Yeah,
sob
narrative.
stories. I just would refuse to do that outright. That would be a deal breaker. Unnecessary nudity would be a deal breaker. And violence, unnecessary violence would be a deal breaker.
I am not too comfortable with crass sex comedies. I wouldn't be able to pull it off and I wouldn't be comfortable doing it. So, crass sex comedy.
I remember in the beginning years in 2012, well, like AK and all are great, but those films pay nothing. So I had been offered a lot of money to do a crass sex comedy. उसका first scene था कुछ ऐसे केला ले लो या कुछ ऐसा. And I remember I took the money also, and someone sent me a bottle of wine, and I just kept looking at it all night, and then I just returned it the next morning, and my agency also dropped me. But I was very comfortable with that decision. So anything I think that incites hatred, that adds to stereotypes, that doesn't sit well with me as a person, I will not do. And even if like the character I did this film called Madam Chief Minister.
Yeah.
I got a lot of flack for an upper caste person being cast into the role of a Dalit leader.
Okay.
But I took it on the chin because I knew who the other pageant winners were who were being considered for the part, who couldn't even speak Hindi.
Yeah.
And I gave my life to, I learned how to ride a bike, gained weight, cut my, all that. वो character flawed था. Towards the end, there was some power shift in her. She becomes very hungry. But that's okay. That's a character flaw. You have to play all kinds of characters. You can't shy away from playing a bad character as long as you see their journey, their motivations, what makes them who they are.
Yeah, right. You, Rashri?
Yeah, I think most of the points they have covered, and I definitely, don't want to do something where we are putting anyone in a very derogatory way. I would not like to do where LGBTQI plus community is also portrayed in a wrong way, because it's not just my character. I would like to understand how the whole film or the series is, what is actually happening. So I would like to understand that space also. It's not even like, and even the other women. So it's not my only journey, everyone, because it's all one, right?
Yeah.
And when people will see it, they will see at one show, one film. So everything has to have that kind of space.
Yeah, it's a dichotomy. Anurag Kashyap had said ना कि हिंदुस्तान में लोग मज़े करने के लिए स्कूल जाते हैं और सीखने के लिए सिनेमा हॉल जाते हैं. उल्टा होना चाहिए. So, जिस हद तक लोग सिनेमा से इन्फ्लुएंस होके उसको सच मानने लगते हैं, वो भी ज़रा ख़तरनाक है.
बहुत मुश्किल है ये बात, क्योंकि बहुत बार मैंने ये भी सुना है कि सिनेमा होता है, वो कोई इन्फ्लुएंस नहीं करता, बट I think because there are people said that, okay, आप इसको इतना seriously मत लो. Somebody had mentioned, and I don't want to take names, but I work on ground.
Yes.
I know how it affects people.
अरे मोबाइल के वीडियोस जब उनको सच लगने लगते हैं,
that's
तो
what I'm like.
big
I
screen.
feel that as a artist, when I work on certain characters, I got to like somebody had asked me this question in Toronto Film Festival. Ki, what do you think things have changed in India? And I'm like, I have tons of things to say. No, things have not changed. This is the same problem. The Lakshmiya character I had portrayed, there are many women are going through that. So, it shifts you in that way. You cannot just be this thing. You are everything. You are a responsible person also, where whatever you are portraying has to, there are someone who's looking at you.
I think I was in school when Rang De and Dil Chahta Hai released. I wanted to go to Goa with my friends. It was like a yearly thing, and when Rang De Basanti released, I remember we as a school my school friends, my sister started this Jago Jagao campaign where we used to go and clean, plant trees and clean. So I think fortunately for me, I was influenced by the good in cinema, but I'm sure that people are influenced by the bad.
And they shouldn't be. Please don't. What is that one line you can say to viewers, ma'am, about what not to
the
learn
line
from
from Gangs of Wasipur. जब तक देश में सिनेमा रहेगा, I will not repeat it. But the reason why cinema is such a, look at how Hitler controlled cinema, Leni Riefenstahl. I don't have to say more. People can use it.
All popular culture is extremely influential in guiding people's lives and decisions. So we should be definitely careful. So basically the one line that one can say is, for God's sake, think yaar. खुदा ने दिमाग दिया है, इस्तेमाल करो. उसका अचार मत बनाओ.
Correct. And 3 to 4 more pointers. What's your equation with money? Are you a tough negotiator in your assignments? How important is money in your?
देखो ही मैं.
अब तो फिल्म फेयर बेस्ट एक्टर मिला है यार. अभी तो
पैसे बढ़ा दो. कहाँ है प्लीज अभी.
I think, who doesn't like money? I'd love money, but that's not my priority. I feel if I make money and I get rich, who wouldn't
But
want
you get
money,
into that
right?
hard negotiation in the beginning.
I have an agency, they don't get me too much money, but I have someone doing it for me. So it is what comes my way, I feel. I feel that, we've spoken about this a little earlier as well. I think people need to be empathetic, like what Rajshri was saying, and a little more sensitive. I personally have experienced very bad experiences with casting directors, extremely bad personally, where I've been told a whole lot of things, language which I can't use on national television, but a particular male casting director using all the mother-sister galis to me personally, saying you'll never do anything and you're from a small town, you look a certain way, you should do these jobs, nose job, lip job, wo job. All this was said to me by a lot of casting directors. For me, I'm here, I come from a secure family where ठीक है, if this doesn't work out, I would love to act, I'll act wherever I can act, but I'll still have food on my table to eat, you know. So for me, I'm one of those fortunate ones. But personally, I know friends, a friend of mine from Nashik who wanted to be an actor, who doesn't have that fortune. She's fought with her family, she's come here to act. So I just wish that people are a little more sensitive towards each other. I'm not saying a casting director can give all of us the job, but just be kind.
How many people who are casting directors today came to be casting directors? They came to be actors, and they are resentful.
So much resentment.
And or they are wannabe directors, and now they're trying to direct. So I always would, I mean, in my career, I've been like acting now for over a decade. Barring 1 or 2 casting directors, I've not even been called for auditions. So when I meet them and they're like, oh, you're fantastic, I'm like, how come you've not even called me for an audition if I'm so fantastic? Wow. And today, when I'm trying to produce today, I don't maybe want to go to a casting director who operates out of Bombay. I go to Dilip Shankar in Delhi because his worldview is larger. He has more experience with actors. He's trained, he's gifted.
I come from a time when there was no auditioning. You know, we got work or you sat at home. I was the one who sat at home. I mean, everything would happen in front of me, but just nobody, as you said, I mean, if I'm so good, thank you very much, but give me a job, no, then. But it never came my way. So there is a problem, there is a limited worldview. Everyone wants to take the easy way out. Everyone wants to lock on people that are immediately saleable. So that is something that we are all going to have to face.
And we are still facing
and
it.
we will continue to face, I feel. But if we can become a kinder society, it really
mankind,
would be
the
good
word
for us.
says, please be kind, man. So mankind must be kinder. And in the end, what is
humankind, please, let's just drop that man business. Thank you very much.
Right, humankind, I agree. And what is that one thing, lastly, that you wish somebody had told you at the beginning of your careers?
That is going to be a very, very uphill battle, and you're going to need a lot of dum, genuine dum, to last it out and not lose your mind. And also that it's not the only fulfillment that life can give you. There's much, much more. So keep your mind open.
Wow,
I was actually fortunate. I was given, because I went through, Mumbai is a very commercial place. So it's all about commerce and wear this, look this way, do that, and this will happen. It's all calculated, and I feel acting can't be so calculated. I was very fortunate. I got to spend time with Adilji and Dilipji, who I owe my life to. So Dilipji gave me very correct advice when I was starting off. He said, know your why. You should know why you're doing this. Are you doing this for the money? Are you doing this for just fame? Are you doing this for because you truly like doing it? So if you have no work, and I'm not the most skilled actor, I really don't consider myself. I feel any actor, if they think they're skilled, then they should stop acting, because you have to keep improving. So I feel that if I was a particular actor last year, I want to better myself, hope and pray that I get opportunities to do it, but I truly enjoy what I do, keep doing, and I just hope I get a chance to show it. But like I said, I was given correct advice saying if you don't have a chance, get 4 of your friends, make them watch what you're doing, and just keep working on what you like doing.
That's so true. Richa, you?
I don't wish anyone said anything different, because I got so much negativity and flack in my beginning years, including really unfortunate things. Like I remember the day Oye Lucky was launched into the world and everyone was like praising me to the skies. I thought I've made it. That was the day that coincided with the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. And as a young person who just graduated and my world collapsed around me, and yet the tragedy of the country was so much bigger than mine. I understand that terrorists are there to terrorize you, but then in that climate it became a sleeper hit or whatever. So for me, I think it was such a wonderful lesson that you cannot take this job seriously, and it's a gamble. So for me to I got so much negativity that when people say that you have tough skin and you are very ballsy or bold or whatever, I feel like I just got really good training in that by life, and I'm very grateful for that training, because I know not to take the praise to heart, and I know not to take the failure personally. Sometimes your best work remains unseen until someone rediscovers it later, but that's the nature of film. So I feel इतना पहले ही मुझे बोल दिया था कि अभी कोई और क्या बोलेगा मुझे, that will destroy me or demoralize me, I don't know.
Actually, another thing I would have liked to understand, I mean, I knew vaguely at the back of my head, but that acting is not until you're good looking and certain age, young and good looking. That's not your period as an actor. I want to act for the whole of my life.
Yes.
So what do I do then? It's not, my face is the least important part of me. So what do I do then?
What more can I dig into?
So that learning, it took me a long time to figure out, come on, this is not it. So I wish I'd come to it a little earlier. But otherwise,
So true. That's, absolutely. Rashri, you?
I keep breathing, keep deconstructing, keep learning. And like today, as everyone said that, someone has been writing and this thing that you've arrived and all. I don't think so you can arrive anywhere, anytime. You keep, every day is a step. And that step should never end, because you, I think you have to keep growing like a tree. Tree will go through n number of things. You are that space. So, I'm glad, today in this way that I'm portraying 60 plus also, and I'm portraying 30 plus also. So I'm really thankful to those few people who trusted me. And it started, of course, with whom do I trust in this industry, but it just, I just found them, in some corner, in a new person, and I think that's what kept me, kind. That's what kept me, in this industry, and I think I will forever work.
Absolutely. As Meryl Streep had said, take your broken heart and turn it into art. No matter what experiences you go through, it's important to keep recycling your emotions and experiences and just enrich your art by way of your experiences. Lovely talking to you and meeting you, and it was such a lovely discussion. Thank you so much, each one of you, for being here and doing what you do and in the way that you do. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Thanks all of you also for this lively conversation.
This lovely line, the new play that we are doing, Old World. It has a very nice line. This my character says, I like meeting new friends. Old friends always go on and on about something you already know about. But it's just possible that new friends would say something new. And today I really made very nice new friends. Thank you very much, ladies. It was great fun listening to your experiences. And
same, the pleasure is all mine.
The world changes. Slowly, but it does.
It does.
But, but it started with you.
Yes, it did, like I said.
I stand on somebody else's shoulders. We give hope to each other.